I mean, and it's not a magic formula that I say, hey, this is how you solve a plus b square, and this is the answer, and hey, you'll score 100 out of 100 in this quiz. It's always a hit and trial. As a marketeer, you have to be ready to experiment.
Hello everyone, I am Udit Gupta. Welcomes you all to the another series of the podcast powered by Growjunction. Today we have Mr. Dhruv as our special guest who will be addressing all of us. Sir has done his MBA from Symbiosis Institute of Management Studies and is currently serving as a marketing manager at Infosys. Hello sir, how are you?
Hi, Udit. Great to have you. Great to be here.
How was your day sir? How was your weekend?
It's a holiday today, but we have a huge event coming up in a couple of days. So it's been a busy day so far, and it's a busy day ahead of this conversation with you as well.
Thanks sir for taking out time on a holiday as well. So let me just start with a very general question, which we as MBA aspirants have gone through throughout our journey of 2 years. So, can you, sir, just tell us something about yourself, like your journey till now, how it has been right from the very beginning?
Sure. Well, I joined Infosys as an associate consultant in 2013. That's where my corporate journey began, and it was a day zero placement. In fact, most of my colleagues and my batchmates had not even woken up from their sleep, and I already had my placement form in hand. And it's a very nerve-wracking time for us. Sims is not a top 10 B school; it is a top 30 B school, and sometimes the placement season can be long and hard, and it needs resilient people to actually go through that whole season and the interview process. And I was very lucky that in the first few hours of the placement season itself, I landed a job with Infosys as an associate consultant. So that's where it started. And 2013 was an interesting time because we used to have a lot of bench strength in Infosys at that time. It's no longer the case, but at that time, a lot of people used to say, hey, if you're joining Infosys after your MBA, you're going to be on the bench for some time. But I landed in Pune, and day one of my job, after my training was complete, I landed in a project, and I had actually run away from the IT sector because I'd done my BTech in information technology. But as things might have it, I landed in a project where I had to pick up coding. I had to learn ERP systems. I had to learn inside outs of how to talk to clients about what these systems are, what it means for them, understand business rules in their local regions in different parts of the world, and deliver these systems as part of a team uh, for Infosys and for our clients. So I think learning number one is you can run away from things, but eventually you'll have to face your fears.
It's agreed, quite relatable as well. Even I used to like run away from computer science, but now since I want to pursue my career in product management, so some sort of technicalities even I should know about. So this too has happened with me as well.
Yeah, so I think first thing you should do with it is you should learn SQL and Python. This is uh, an advice, because especially in the job market in India, what I'm seeing with my wife is luckily a senior recruiter with Revolut in India, and I'm seeing that SQL and Python is becoming something like every MBA graduate also needs to know it. So you might be a specialist in finance or marketing or operations or HR, but if you know SQL and if you know Python, you're a treasure in the job market in our country right now.
So, sir, can you just throw some light on your 2 years of MBA journey? Because, like, for most of us, it has been a roller coaster ride, and it is for everyone, like, whom I have met. And, like, they mentioned that the MBA journey helps a person in growing and developing his or her personality a lot. So, has this happened with you as well? Can you throw some light on that?
Yeah, I think they were the best time of my life, I would say, the 2 years at B school, and I hope you're also having a great time at Narsi Monji where you are with it. Uh, I think when I started out, somebody told me that it's a 2 years paid vacation that you're going for. I completely disagree with them. There was no vacationing for me at all. We made friends. We had a lot of fun times in B school. We made friends for life who we are still in touch with on a day in day out basis. We've made connections which I've never made in school or engineering college. I think the B school connections that I made still hold very strong and very true till today. But I think what was really interesting for my B school journey is I took up as many opportunities as I got at that time. I think number one, what I did was me and my close friend who now works with Heads Up for Tails, a startup brand for dog products and pet products. We started a digital magazine. We started an online magazine called E-Magazine, and we had a team of about 50 authors. Between the two of us, we were creating content on a daily basis. We had about 20 articles going out every month, and this is back in 2011 when we all had only 2G or something on our phones. We didn't even have 3G or 4G. So even the internet market had not really boomed in India. But at that time, we created this whole digital magazine that had Google ads, and we used to think about SEOs, and we used to think about how to put ad placements in our different parts of our website. How do we make money? What conferences we can go and present this whole thing to? I think that gave me a great learning exposure right in the beginning, and this was outside of learning your marketing subjects, learning your B school subjects. It was really outside academics. So this was something we did as a passion project between the two of us, and we were really grateful that we were able to find 50 authors who were just writing because they loved writing. So they were just writers out of how they were hobbyist writers, and they used to create such great content. And that magazine did really well. We had more than 10 million views. We used to earn money through Google Ads, and it was a great experience for us. So I think that was number one. I think number two was I was part of something called the alumni cell. So managing the entire 3,000 to 5,000 alumni strength of SIMS, organizing annual alumni meets all over the country, creating a national alumni meet, inviting esteemed senior leaders from the corporate world who had completed 10 or 15 years of their anniversaries from SIMS. I think just being able to understand what it takes. As a marketeer, I was learning marketing. As an event marketeer, I was already learning how to do event marketing through that exposure in the alumni cell. So it gave me an exposure into the finance side of things. What do you need? Purchase orders. How do you create financing? How do you manage budgets? How do you manage a team? How do you go after audience acquisition, which is important for events? So all of that learning was very important for me, which was a second thing. And the third, of course, the academics took care of themselves. I was very serious about the theory, the theory of learning about brand equity or brand recall or brand management, or what are the P's of marketing. I was very serious about all of that. And sometimes when I'm caught up in a bit of a conundrum at work, I always think back to, hey, think of it from a theoretical angle and see how you can implement it practically. So yeah, I mean, B school was a lot of fun. We made friends, but I would say anyone who's pursuing their B school, try and do as many things as you can. If you have opportunities and avenues like your placement cells, your events teams, your sports teams, whatever you have, just try and get into them as much as possible. They'll give you a great learning. They'll give you great exposure. If you're thinking of starting your own business, nothing like trying it out when you're in B school itself. Think of something that you don't need a lot of money with. Think of something that you can pay 10-15,000 to a small vendor, create a website, get your whole thing alive digitally, your entire idea, and just take it forward. You'll have people. It's the best place, right? B school is like a sea of intelligent management professionals, and they all want to get involved with something beyond what they're doing. So if you were thinking of an idea and you want to experiment, nothing like trying it during the B school days. So yeah, I mean, I thank my alma mater for everything that they've given me, but I think advice would be simply that, hey, do as many things as you can.
Good to hear. So now coming to your professional journey, like you have been associated with Infosys for more than 9 years. So would you like to comment on the company's culture? Like how is the organization's culture? And haven't you ever thought of switching once in your entire journey?
See, I can't be completely dishonest, right, in this interview. Can I tell you that I've never thought of switching? I can't say no. But I think when you love your job so much, it's very difficult to switch out of it. And by that I mean I landed a very interesting opportunity in 2015. So I started as a consultant. I grew as a consultant in the organization. I got promoted in my role. I started handling clients by myself. So a lot of confidence in my early mentors in Infosys who had given me this confidence of letting me run with the project on my own, giving me that confidence and that opportunity to let me do those things on my own. But I think back in 2015, Infosys partnered with the ATP, which is the professional body for men's professional tennis all over the world. And I just woke up from bed. We have this habit of picking up our phone from our chargers in the morning and seeing our WhatsApp and everything. And I had this in shots from Times of India, which said Infosys has partnered with ATP for 3 years. And I couldn't believe it. I thought maybe ATP is a client or a industry client I don't know about. It can't be. Infosys couldn't have partnered with this tennis organization. So I did my research. I read the article, and I was I was astounded that we are doing this at Infosys, the same company where I work. So I was almost like a fish in deep water, where I was just flapping my wings and reaching out to as many people as I could from marketing in Infosys, from business, asking them, really, going after them, that give me an opportunity. I want to really do something in this project, even if it's a small 1 month or 2 month project, just to get an exposure, just to get something interesting beyond what I do. And after knocking on a lot of doors for a good 1 2 months, I got some opportunities to work on some interesting things while the partnership was just established. And 3 4 months down the line, I completely switched lines. I think my now mentor, uh, who is in Infosys, now he's a vice president here. Uh, he's also my boss for the last 7 years, a long time, and also a close friend. His name is Naveen Rammohan. I think I started working under him in 2016, and I think he's always made me feel very comfortable with what I do. He's always given me the ropes to learn and grow as a marketer, which is very important. So whenever you are thinking of a corporate career, you should always have a great mentor, because that's the only way you will stick to that role. That's the only way you will learn and grow. In fact, I would say if you ever land up in an organization and you feel unhappy, 99% of the times it will be because you don't have a mentor and you don't have a boss who you like and who you can connect with on a personal level as well. So that's one thing I've been very lucky with from the start. And that pivot that I made, of getting into this world of tennis and sports marketing, was something I can never. I just feel like it's something I can never walk away from. uh, Everything else might feel very mundane now. If I get into a different kind of a role, if I get into a B2C marketing role with a Hindustan Unilever or a Coca-Cola, I don't think I'll enjoy it. I think thinking about developing new things from a technology perspective in tennis, always thinking of what's next in the world of sport, whether it's metaverse, whether it's NFTs, or it's looking at 3D museums or whatnot. I mean, we look at innovation from every angle in the world of sport, and it's something that I am so close to and so passionate about that switching has never been top of mind for me. You always get those thoughts. I'll never lie, but and I've been very honest with everyone. You'll always get those thoughts, but when you love your job so much, it's almost impossible to walk away from it. So yeah, I mean, shifting from a consulting role into sports marketing, doing it so well over the last 7 years, growing that whole program inside a brand like Infosys, it's been absolutely out of this world. I couldn't have written this job description if you told me to. If you gave me a blank notepad and you said, hey Dhruv, what's your dream job? I couldn't have written the this job description down.
So, like now coming to some domain-based questions, because our target audience is the upcoming MBA grad.
I mean, and it's not a magic formula that I say, hey, this is how you solve a plus b square, and this is the answer, and hey, you'll score 100 out of 100 in this quiz. It's never a, it's always a hit and trial. As a marketer, you have to be ready to experiment. I mean, and it's not a magic formula that I say, hey, this is how you solve a plus b square, and this is the answer, and hey, you'll score 100 out of 100 in this quiz. It's never a, it's always a hit and trial. As a marketer, you have to be ready to experiment. Whether you're working for a B2B brand or a B2C brand or any brand in this world, you have to always be ahead of the curve of your organization. Anything that you're doing as a marketer has to be 6 months ahead of the whole organization. So always think ahead. Always be ready to experiment. Always be ready to try things which your rest of your organization is not doing. So if you've just heard of the NFT space, think about how your brand can get into that NFT space. If you've just heard about the metaverse space, think about how your brand can get into the metaverse space. If there are brands going to the moon, think of how you can launch a rocket and go to the moon. Always think about things which are unconventional, which are ahead of the curve, which feel like ideas, which don't feel like things that your brand might do. And be ready to experiment, be ready to put things to trial and error, because that's how you'll discover what works and what doesn't work. And always, like I said, if you're feeling lost as a marketer, if you're feeling lost about your campaign, always think about your target audience, think about what they are looking for, think about what is your key role, what kind of marketing are you trying to do for your organization, and tie those two together. 100% you'll find a solution.
My next question would be like, can you tell me about your digital marketing campaign which you have performed and how it went, like throughout your tenure?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think without getting into any specifics, we do a lot of campaigns, right? Infosys, we partner with, in my role itself, we partner with the ATP, we partner with the French Open, Roland Garros, we partner with the Australian Open, and now recently we've partnered with the International Tennis Hall of Fame. So it's a pretty packed calendar of events that we have. And I'm also now part of events and conferencing in Infosys. So we do a lot of large events for our clients and things like that. So there are a lot of campaigns that we do, a lot of marketing campaigns that we execute in a year. One thing that they don't teach you in B school is how you have to work with an agency. It is the most important thing in the world of marketing, to understand how you need to work with designers, how you need to work with content writers, how you need to work with external agencies who can create these experiences for you, who can run these campaigns for you, who can create the strategy, the messaging. I mean, in B school, it is almost, the theory is taught to you in a way that you need to do it yourself. You need to do everything yourself, which is absolutely not the case. You have to learn how to work with external partners. In fact, it's the most surprising thing for me when I got into the field of marketing here, about learning that, hey, these are the things I need to do. I was so ignorant about all these aspects that I'm already giving this message to anyone who might be hearing this. Learn about what it takes to work with agencies, how agencies set up inside out, what kind of people they have inside. They'll have creative leads, they'll have designers, they'll have producers, they'll have content writers. How do you need to use and leverage each of them for different kind of things you need to run in a campaign? So if you're running a campaign on LinkedIn, how do you create that very corporate kind of content and messaging, compared to an Instagram where things need to be fun? You need to look at influencers, you need to look at stories and reels, and there's a new format coming up every day on Instagram almost, that you need to, as a marketer, be ahead of the curve. So and I think all of these different channels, all of these different content, all of these different kind of styles of design that you need to think about for different kind of objectives and different target markets on each of these channels, and especially from a digital perspective, will only come when you understand how you actually go about creating a campaign. So it starts with what's the message you need to put out in the market. It starts with what is the message your brand is kind of going with. How do you tie those two together? What's it that your target audience is after? How do you talk to them through your campaign? How do you create a mind share with your target audience that you can't really create without creating a marketing campaign that's memorable and that's never forgotten? And if I think about it, I think one of the most fun campaigns that I had working on was something called Undistance. So I don't know where you are right now, Udit. Where are you? Where are you right now?
Bangalore.
You're in Bangalore. I'm in Pune. We have a distance between us, but this Zoom call is ensuring that the distance between us feels like it's undistanced. So I feel close to you because we are on a virtual call. I've got to know you. You're doing your MBA at Narsimonji. You're working with Growjunction. You're creating these great podcasts for people to listen to and learn from. And our campaign was something about this, how digital and how technology is bringing tennis and its fans together. So how you're really reducing the distance with the kind of technology experiences that you're creating for tennis fans. So that was one of the most interesting campaigns that we did, and it was during the pandemic where we were all working from home, we were all in quarantine, there were lockdowns, so we needed to rely on technology to actually bridge the gap and the distance. So Undistance was something very interesting for us, and I already spoke about how it manifested itself on different channels, whether it was a LinkedIn or an Instagram or a Twitter, creating differentiated messaging everywhere. And again, very differentiated messaging if you're thinking about TV, if you're thinking about media, and those kind of channels to kind of send that messaging. So yeah, Undistance was a great campaign for me that I can think about.
Yes, sir. So, can you mention some of the challenges which a marketing manager generally faces in his day-to-day activities, or like from your personal experience as well, like challenges which you have faced while working in this
So I
job?
don't remember who said this, but somebody had said this once that if you feel like things are under control, you're not running too fast, right? And as a marketeer, it has always been the case that I always feel like there are so many different things happening that is the most challenging aspect. How can you manage your different projects? How can you manage your different campaigns which are running in parallel? You'll never get one campaign to do. Udit, if you get into marketing ever, you'll never get one campaign. You'll always be working on multiple tracks. There'll be multiple deadlines, and you'll always feel like there's always a deadline around the corner. So as in the world of marketing, we have very short deadlines. If something has happened today, we need to react to it today on social media. If something has happened to tomorrow or is happening tomorrow, everything needs to be ready tonight and ready to create a great spill on your social channels. So if an Amazon big sale is happening, I'm sure all the marketing teams are going crazy in the lead up to that big sale, communicating, email marketing, social media marketing, SMS marketing, WhatsApp marketing. I mean, marketing is almost everywhere. It gets a bit annoying sometimes, but I think the biggest challenge is staying ahead of your deadlines, being able to manage a lot of different tracks together at a single point. That's always the biggest challenge of any marketeer, I feel, in any organization.
So, coming to our penultimate question, that would be like, can you mention some of the skills or qualities which, in your opinion, matters the most for a marketing manager or any individual who wants to enter this domain?
Any skills that matter to any marketing manager to enter into the corporate world or any
Exactly.
organization.
Huh. Who is at the very early stage of his career and wants to build his career in this domain?
See, I would say uh, w- if you don't take things for granted, right? I mean, it's a soft skill. If you take things very seriously, if you take responsibility and bottom line, if you understand simple soft skills like writing emails, communicating well, making sure you're ahead of planning your week, what are the different meetings you have, how do you go into those meetings, do you need presentations, do you need to speak to some people, get things in order. Setting a house in order is very important, and it's almost like managing a house. If you know uh, which ingredients you need to order, when do you need to cut the vegetables to create your next meal, when do you need to soak the rajma so that your rajma chawal is ready in time for your next meal. Just planning your entire house and getting it in order, I think that is very important soft skill which nobody talks about. Similarly at work, if you plan your work, you start always thinking about what are the different things I need to do, where are the loose ends, where are the gaps, how do I take responsibility, make sure that anything that happens in this track is my responsibility, I make it happen, come what may. I think that is an important skill that any corporate would look at. They don't look at, is he from an IIM and an IIT? They do, of course they do. But when you get into an interview room, that's not what they look at. They look at how good are you with taking responsibility, or soft skills. What is your personality like? Would you be able to work with other team members? Would you be easy to approach? Would you create a fun and happy environment at work, or would you become a negative influence at work? Those are very important things. And these are beyond, right? These are not the most important things, but these are very important things any interviewer would look at. And these are skills that anyone can learn, anyone can pick up, anyone can have these skills. For example, if you're getting into a Coca-Cola, always read about, hey, what is Coca-Cola doing, how is the business doing, what are their plans in the future, what are their marketing leaders talking about on social channels, what are the senior leadership talking about on social channels, where is it going, what are the new products. Learning about that industry, the competitors, the target market, getting into that interview with that knowledge is very important. It shows you've done your homework. Taking responsibility shows you're very serious, and you can take bottom line responsibility on tracks. You can completely take anything and get it done. Getting the job done is very important to you. So soft skills matter. Learning about the business you get into, or the corporate you get into, matters. Learning about the landscape, the market, read as much as you can. That is very important. uh, and I talked about a few other things earlier about having mentors. So it's not, in fact today they say it's not the it's a candidates market, right? Today uh, the kind of salaries that people are getting in the market is absolutely phenomenal. And I would say that is not the only thing that you should go after. If you go and work in a toxic workplace, even if you're earning an amazing salary, you'll burn yourself out in less than a year. You'll have no mental space, and those things are very important. So don't go to a place which is throwing money at you, but also taking the life out of you. It's important to live your life happily, have a balance, devote time to your family. I don't know if you're married or planning to get married anytime soon with it, but when you do that in the future, when you have family, or even if it's parents or things like that you need to devote to, or a pet, you always need to be in an organization with a boss and a team that you're happy with. So that is very important. So finding happiness in a corporate world is very, very important. How do you get into it? I've already told you. You have to do your homework. You have to be responsible. You have to have the soft skills. Personality matters. And I'm sure all the other things, the theory aspects of marketing and the brand and all of those things you can learn from any textbooks.
That answers all of our questions. So, sir, thanks for being our guest today. I hope you would have also liked being hosted by me. So, thanks for coming,
It,
sir.
it's my pleasure, Udit. I wish you all the best. I hope you get a great placement. Keep in touch and all the best.
Sir.